Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have here not one, but two pens. And yes, these are Visconti, and yes, I'm back on the Visconti bandwagon. And yes, it has been about a year since I purchased my previous Visconti, which was actually my last Templar edition Jacques de Molay. And I've been looking at a few Viscontis recently, and this one came up, and this is actually a set. It's a set of two pens. Now, I don't normally buy sets, and I don't normally buy a set that has a fountain and a rollerball, but I do love this pen, and I'll go through the reasons why. So, we have a lovely cloth cover, and clearly this is a very, very large box. So I will try and remove this now, and let's see if I can do this easily on camera, because this cloth bag is quite a tight fit. But there you have it. That is the lovely box from Visconti here, and if I put it around this side, you can see it in all its glory. So this is a beautiful box. If I put it around this way, might be able to see it a little bit better. Now, there is an inscription here, so you've got Visconti here. Now, this is a wooden box, and it's covered in 3 layers of gold leaf. So you can see why, in a sense, this is a special box, and I think it's fitting of this pen. Now, there is a sort of inscription here in, I believe, Russian, and this translates to the Cathedral of the Intercession of the Most Holy Theotokos on the Moat. And this really is a stunning pen. So I have a pen like this already, and I'll try and not bump the camera as I lift this up, but this here is the beautiful, beautiful pen. And this is the Saint Basil, or Saint Basilica. Now, this is a stunning pen, so if I just bring this back down again, you'll be able to see this here in all its beauty. Now, this is a stunning material. I have a pen like this, and it is the Visconti Speakeasy. And I'll show you that pen here. I'll show it in a comparison in a little bit. But this is the Visconti Speakeasy, and then this is the Visconti St. Basil. So you can actually see the St. Basilica in gold inlaid into this body. And I've always wanted this pen for a long time, and it's a beautiful pen. And if I just try and reduce some of the reflection here on camera, so you can see it in a little bit more better detail here, you'll see that this is a beautiful inscription going on here, an inlay into that pen. It's not an overlay, and then you have more lettering there as well. So this is a pen I've wanted for a while, because the Speakeasy version, if I just get that back, the Speakeasy version is actually a very small little cartridge converter, and the reason why is because it actually has a huge 6 milliliters to hold some alcohol. So I can only put a little squeeze converter on there, and this is a very, very juicy wet nib. So this actually tends to run out of ink within about a page of A4. So it is very, very juicy. Now, this one is the PowerVac version. So if I unscrew this, again, you've got another 23 carat palladium medium nib here, but you have an ink window, and it's a PowerVac. So I can unscrew this, pull it back, push it back in again, and suck up ink. So for me, this is a beautiful pen. Now, I did vow a couple of years ago, after getting the Speakeasy version, to never buy the St. Basil. And unfortunately, times change, and sometimes you feel the need to actually go and buy it. And the reason why was, I like the pen, a lot, but I did still want the St. Basil, and I was able to get it for a very good price. So for me, I decided to pick up the St. Basil, but it actually came in a set. So as I mentioned, that this is the fountain pen version, and if I then move this away, I will show you the Rollerball version. There is another cloth case, and if I try to remove this, let's see if I can do this again on camera. It's very, very tight, this bag, and hopefully I can just about do it. There you go. So here is the second box. So now I have two very, very heavy boxes, and just in case you think I'm saying it's only one box, no, there's actually two boxes there, but I just can't get two boxes on camera. So again, we have the inscription here, and again this is in a 3-layer gold leaf, and when I lift it up here, you have the pen. So if I bring this back down and just cover up that gold leaf so it doesn't sparkle the camera too much, and you have the Rollerball version here, and then you have the fountain pen version. So the fountain pen version and the Rollerball, they both have rubies, real rubies on the pen. So these are very, very nice pens. Now I've shown you the fountain pen. This is the Rollerball version of the pen, and if I unscrew this, you'll see that it has a standard Visconti Rollerball ceramic. It's an AA40, and that just goes in there, and I can screw that back up again. So the question I know a lot of you are going to ask is, why get the Rollerball? So this was a set. I couldn't buy this particular one separately, so this was purchased originally from a collector, and it had been resold a number of times, and I managed to pick this up at the UK Southwest Pen Show in February 2020. So I had the option that if I wanted to, I could just buy the set and I could sell the Rollerball, or buy the set and keep the fountain pen and Rollerball together. So I've decided I'm going to keep it together because I do use a Rollerball from time to time, and I do love this material. This material really is quite stunning. You can see there St. Basilica or St. Basil, and it is a beautiful, beautiful pen. So for me, I love these. I really do love these. So am I going to write with the Rollerball? Yes, I will. Am I going to write with it a lot? I don't know. I typically don't write a lot with Rollerballs. Sometimes I will write with Rollerballs. I do prefer writing with fountain pens, but I do like this as a set. And of course, as I mentioned, I previously had bought the Speakeasy. So now I have the Visconti Speakeasy. I have both St. Basils. So for me, that is quite an achievement there. I do like this material from the Speakeasy. It's a blue and red hue material. The Speakeasy has a rhodium coloured trim on it, but you can see a little bit more of that celluloid material, and yes, it is celluloid. This doesn't actually come with a real ruby on the Speakeasy. It's just a My Pen finial, but you can see here this one does, and it is a real ruby. So I decided I would pick these pens up, and I haven't yet regretted that. I do like these models. I like the size, I like the weight. So the fountain pen version here, if I put it in my hand, it's a really good size for me and a really good weight. You cannot post these caps. They're not designed to be posted. Honestly, I don't need to, because they are a decent size. So I'm going to really enjoy writing with this pen. And I kind of deliberated actually because I'd already bought a birthday pen for February, and I bought it back in December. And I actually thought that this set would actually be a really nice birthday set. But I'd already bought the Pelikan M1000 Raden Sunlight, and that I had put away for my birthday. So this is just kind of one of these special occasions where you manage to pick up something special, and it's not a birthday, it's not a Christmas present, but it's perhaps, I don't know, maybe another present. I'm sure I can think of a number of different good reasons to buy a pen, and every day is a good reason to buy a pen in my book. So these are really beautiful pens, and I'm just so glad now that I have all three in my collection. I didn't think I would ever have all three. I honestly thought that I probably wouldn't even have two, because I decided I wasn't going to buy the fountain pen version of the St. Basil when I bought the Speakeasy. But I like the Speakeasy so much, so I decided, because there was one available, or actually a set available, let's go and buy it. But again, these are really beautifully done, and this is something that I like about the Visconti pens, is that they put in a lot of levels of detail into the making of these pens. And it's not just resin pens, or not just celluloid, or not just overlay. They really push the boundary on all of the pens that they make, and this really is just an amazing sort of overlay. So I'm really glad that I managed to pick this one up and add both of them to my collection. So I think with that, let's do a size and weight check of these, and we'll then do a pen comparison, and then we'll do a writing sample. So the length of the pen is about 157 millimeters in length. The length of the cap is about 71 millimeters in length. And then from the tip of the tines, we are looking at about 145 millimeters in length. So this is a very large, oversized pen, and you can see that there in the size of my hands. It really is a large pen. Now we'll do a weight check. So the fountain pen, uninked, we are looking at just under 67 grams in weight. The weight of the cap, we're looking at just under 23.5 grams. And then the weight of the body, uninked, we're looking at just over 35 grams. So this is quite a weighty combination there. Now that's the fountain pen version. Let's look at the Rollerball version. So the Rollerball is just under 66 grams. The cap is just over 23 grams, so a little bit lighter. And then the body is just under 35 grams. So, and that's with the Rollerball ink attachment inside. So let's do a comparison with other pens. So from left to right, we have the Visconti Watermark, we have the Visconti Medici Il Magnifico, we have the Visconti Last Templar Jacques de Molay, we have the Visconti Camelot, the Visconti Speakeasy, the Visconti St. Basil in fountain pen, and the Visconti St. Basil in Rollerball. We have a Visconti Istos Arachnis, we have a Visconti Belgica, and then we have a Visconti Ecstasy d'Oud. So, let's do a writing sample. We have the Visconti, and this is the Saint Basil, and it is a medium 23 carat palladium nib, and the ink in here is Mont Blanc, and it is corn poppy red. Now, this is a medium nib, so in terms of line variation, it's going to put down a medium line variation here, and you can see there, I'm going to open up the valve a little bit because it's getting a little bit dry already. Now, this is quite a wet nib when you open up the power vac here. I just needed to prime it a little bit more. Now, in terms of line variation, you can coax more of a line out of it if you want to, but I wouldn't normally do that much with a nib. In terms of wetness, let's have a look at how wet this nib is. It's actually quite wet, and then we'll do a down pass. Yeah, so it is a very, very wet fire hose of a nib. It's a lot more wetter on the downstrokes, and typically you will find that because if you have a flexible nib, then you can actually coax more ink out of it like you can here. Now, I'm also going to do a writing sample of the Rollerball. So this is a Visconti Saint Basil, and this is the Rollerball, and it's the Visconti AA40 refill. Put that there just in case anybody wants to know. And the ink in here is just what Visconti put. Now, you can get in the AA40, you can get a blue or you can get a black ink. This is the blue ink. Now, clearly, you're not going to get any kind of line variation because it's a Rollerball. But I'm just going to show you just how this writes. So you can just see there the difference between the fountain pen version and the Rollerball version of the pens. So for me, these are a really, really good buy. I am glad that I was able to add these to my collection. They now sit alongside my Speakeasy, and I absolutely adore them. So there you have it. That's my Visconti St. Basil set of fountain pen and Rollerball, and this is my review. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.